Hello friends, followers and channel members, welcome to another quick video here in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you how to extend the runway track on your navigation display, giving you a good visual reference as to where you're going to intercept that localizer, and also show you why we do this when we are under air traffic control, providing vectors to final in order to make sure that our flight plan is tidy. If the flight plan isn't tidied up, then occasionally things can go quite wrong. We're going to have a look at what can happen if we don't tidy up the flight plan and how we can extend that runway centerline in the process. So in this scenario today, we're going to be just coming in to land at Manchester, runway 23 right. We're currently on the descent on the Elvos arrival, and if I just bring up the map to show you this with the charts, then you'll see we're currently inbound to Trent, and then we're getting down to flight level 80 by Dane. Now, not going to worry too much with regards to the constraints and things, but for this tutorial what we would expect is that by the time we get to Dane, we will then leave Dane with air traffic control. They would give you vectors to final for runway 23 right, and in the UK in particular, a lot of the standard arrivals don't take you directly to the start of the approach to intercept the localizer and the glide slope, etc. They do in lots of other countries around the world, but here in the UK, most of the standard arrival routes end at a waypoint some distance out from the airport, and then you have to get vectors from air traffic control, or if they're not online, if you're not flying on an online network, then you have to vector yourself in, and that is essentially what we're going to do today. We'll vector ourselves in, but this would be pretty much a standard way that air traffic control would get you onto interception for the localizer. So what would happen is we would leave Dane flying heading something like 030. That would get us up there, and then we would get a left turn to come round and intercept. Now, the moment that we get an instruction from air traffic control telling us that we are to fly a heading, for example, that is the point where obviously we would pull the heading bug, and then this flight plan that we've got in here basically goes out the window, because we're no longer expecting to fly to any waypoints. We're not going to be flying to Dane or to Trent if they have told us, say, down here that we're going to fly north and come in for a long approach into runway 23 right. So the moment air traffic control tell you to fly a specific heading, this is where we can now disregard the flight route and the standard instrument arrival route that you've got currently set in the McDo. So let's just have a quick look where we are. We are just about to fly over Trent, which is great. So what I'm going to do is, once we've passed Trent, I'm going to pull the heading, and now what we're going to do is, there you just hit the 3 clicks. Now what we're going to do is I'm just going to start to fly almost directly to the start of the approach, and we can see we've got that set here. This time around though, what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to tidy up the flight plan, and I'm not going to extend the runway centerline. You'll see why in a little bit, and it'll become clear then why it is very important that you do tidy up the flight plan, and a way of doing that is also extending the runway centerline. I shall show you that in a few minutes. However, there is a couple of ways that we can actually extend the runway centerline. The first one is the one I'm actually going to show you in a little while, but the second way of doing it is just by using the fixes page. So if you go to the fixes page, we're going to land at Manchester, runway 23 right, and if we pop that in there, and if we find the runway track, so let me just have a quick look at the charts for Manchester. So we want to extend a radial out from this threshold here, so that would be the reciprocal, which is 051. If I pop in 051 in here, there we'll see now we've got the runway track. Runway Centerline rather, extended. However, this has not tidied up the flight plan. You can see I have still got in my flight plan Dane just up here and Kushi just behind us. So my flight plan is still active in the box. And what's very important here for you to realize is that we are still targeting, or rather the autopilot and the flight navigation computer is still targeting Dane as the waypoint that we need to fly to. But if air traffic control have just told us early on, right, we need to fly heading now 340 or somewhere around there, and we don't tidy up the flight plan, watch what happens here. Okay, so we are now just about to touch down. It's a little bit blustery today as well. We've got 600 feet RA to go. Now, in new aircraft, a lot of them now in the A320s, when you call for the go-around, the aircraft enters nav mode. So if we were to do a go-around now, let's check this out. The go-around procedure calls for us to obviously fly away, and then you can see here we have a right-hand turn. Okay, let's just disconnect our autopilot. Let's just continue down. Doesn't matter if this isn't perfect because we are actually going to perform a go-around in a moment. All right, so let's say that for whatever reason we're not happy, or air traffic control tell us that we need to go around. So let's go around. So call for the go-around flaps. And then we check the FMAs, make sure we're happy, make sure we've got a positive rate, and then we would obviously get the gear up. Now, to reduce workload management, lots of pilots at this point pop the autopilot on and expect the aircraft to fly the go-around track. Unfortunately, our aircraft was targeting a waypoint over to the left when we should have been making a right-hand turn. So our aircraft is now actually going the wrong way. It is still in nav mode, but our flight plan is still there from the start of the approach when air traffic control told us to turn to a heading of 350 or whatever it was. Now, for the purposes of this scenario, I've shown a really severe case here of an old waypoint being left in the flight computer, which when doing a go-around, the aircraft heads into nav mode, the pilot pops on the autopilot, and the aircraft flies to the wrong waypoint because we hadn't tidied up the flight plan. So what we can actually do is kill two birds with one stone. We can extend the runway centerline so we get a nice visual representation on the navigation display, and we also tidy up the flight plan at the same time. Let's have a look. Okay, so this time we're going to extend the runway centerline, but we're also going to tidy up the flight plan at the same time. So, same approach, air traffic control have just now given us a heading to fly. There's Dane, the waypoint that we are targeting in the flight computer. So what we're going to do this time is we are going to clear out all of this and leave in just sort of the last waypoint on the flight plan. So if we go direct and then select one of the latter fixes, and then this time in the radial in page, have a look at the chart and see what the reciprocal track is for our runway. Obviously 231 is our landing track and the reciprocal for that is 051. Let's type that into here and pop that into the radial in, and this time you'll see we get the runway centerline extended. The difference is this time when we directly insert that and pull heading, because obviously we don't want to go directly to it, there we can see now we've got the runway centerline extended and our flight plan has disappeared. We're no longer targeting Dane. We've told the aircraft, because we used the direct function, that we want to go direct to this waypoint here. We're obviously going to overfly that waypoint as well when we are on the final track, so it means that that will be deemed by the aircraft as a waypoint we have crossed over. So if we need to do a go-around, it will then target the go-around procedure, the go-around nav track, not a waypoint that could be still behind us, because we will have overflown this, so then it gets erased and seen as being crossed. Obviously, this is something which is quite important, as you saw in the previous part of this video, because you don't want to do a go around and end up flying the wrong way. Very important. Now, there are also times that, depending on how the approach is built up, you don't necessarily need to consult the charts in order to get the track that you need to enter into the direct page. For example, here we are coming into Amsterdam runway 18 right, and if I decide that we've been given ATC vectors, so I'll just pull heading bug to mimic that, and we know now we're going to get vectored to final. I want to tidy up all the flight plan. Let's do it the way I've just shown. So we're going to select the last waypoint on there, which in this case is Amsterdam 622. If I select that, and then you can see the radial in is already runway radial 001, and if I select that, we'll see that that is already there for us. We can consult the chart and see that that is the correct track, but because of the way that approach has been built up, we didn't need to go through and double check that. I can then obviously hit the direct button. I'm going to pull heading again straight away. Very important that you do that, because you don't want to go direct to that waypoint just yet. That is not where air traffic control have cleared you to yet. But now we can see the runway track is shown on the flight plan, and of course just having it on the navigation display means that it is really nice, because you've got a visual reference where you're going to intercept that localizer, so that's where you're aiming for when planning your descent. So if you do have any follow-up further questions regarding this video, then please do leave a comment down below, and then I can get back to you. Hopefully this has answered the questions that people have asked me regarding extending the runway centerline and sorting out the flight plan when air traffic control are vectoring you in. Thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed this video, then please do leave a like, and of course if you are new to the channel, then don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notifications bell so you don't miss any future videos and live streams. Thank you so much for watching. I shall see you all again very soon. Bye bye for now.